Okay, so let us begin. So students, we are discussing magnetic materials. Okay, we started with this chapter. The very first thing that we have seen in this chapter is torque acting on magnetic dipole. Okay, so there was a derivation. You can see there's a magnet placed in uniform magnetic field. So a torque acts on this magnet. Okay, fine. So there was this derivation that we had. Next topic that we did was location. No, so sorry. Next topic that we did was this one, magnetic moment of an electron that is revolving around the nucleus. Okay, so an electron revolving around a nucleus is equivalent to a circular current carrying loop, because what happens in a current carrying loop, even in a current carrying loop there are movement of charges, right? An electron is a charge, it is a negative charge, but it is a charge. So electron moving rotating around nucleus is equivalent to a current carrying loop. Okay, try to remember this topic, okay, because today the topic that we are going to study will involve a little bit of this electron revolving around the nucleus. Okay, fine. What else we did over here? um okay, fine. All right, so this was the second topic that we did. Next we did magnetization and magnetic intensity. Okay, so in magnetization and magnetic intensity, what was the basic idea? If any material is kept inside a solenoid, all right, solenoid is a helical cylindrical wire wound structure through which current is passing. So inside that solenoid there is magnetic field. All right, so if you keep a material, a normal material inside it, that material gets magnetized. Okay, all right, so this was the topic that we did over here. Okay, now today students we will be seeing the next topic, that is magnetic properties of a material. So basically in this topic we will be studying what are the different types of magnetic materials. Okay, so there are three types: diamagnetic, paramagnetic and ferromagnetic. I think so you all must have heard about these things somewhere uh, till now in your 11th or 12th, maybe in some other subject. All right, fine. So now your students, to before I begin, one point that you all are supposed to remember, this point I have discussed many times before in this lecture, that any material is said to be a magnetic material if that material possesses magnetic dipole moment. Okay, so any material is there, so how can you determine whether the material is a magnetic material or not? The material will possess magnetic dipole moment. If the material possesses magnetic dipole moment, we can say that the material is a magnetic material. All right, fine. Now students, as I said, the electron revolving around nucleus, that topic, please remember that topic. So in that topic what happens is that we have seen electron. Okay, there are two types of momentum seen: spin momentum and orbital momentum. I don't know if you all remember this. All these points were discussed. If you all don't remember, please go and see the previous lecture videos. Okay, fine. So students, an electron possesses two types of dipole moment. Okay, one is spin dipole moment, that is the positive and the negative spin of the electron. All right, and the second is orbit dipole moment. All right, so it is revolving around the nucleus and it is rotating on itself as well. So electron has two types of dipole moments, and these two dipole moments, they combine to give the net magnetic dipole moment of the electron. Okay, fine. Now students, if you all remember this, just a minute, this pink colored box that we did, this was done in the previous lectures. Okay, here you all can see they have written configuration of chlorine. Okay, the electronic configuration and the valence orbital that is there, they have shown the electrons of the valence orbital. So from your students, there was one point that we concluded, and the point was that if there is unpaired electron, okay, if there is unpaired electron, then it possesses magnetic character, or then it possesses magnetic dipole moment. Okay, fine. Students, see, the logic is very simple. What if this valence shell was completely filled? You all can see over here there is 3p5. What if it was 3p6? So if it was 3p6, students, what are these opposite directions indicating? The opposite arrows are indicating that one electron is in plus half spin and the other electron is in minus half spin. So plus minus will cancel each other out. Plus minus will cancel each other out. And suppose if there was one more electron over here, Okay, then plus minus will cancel each other out. So in a completely filled shell, or in a shell which has even electrons, all right, the positive half and the negative spins get cancelled out. So the net dipole moment, the total magnetic dipole moment in such material is zero. Okay, fine. But whereas here the example is of chlorine atom, right? So students, you can see there is unpaired electron in chlorine. So there is one particular spin that is not going to be cancelled. So it means that your chlorine atom possesses some magnetic dipole moment. Okay, fine. I hope you all are understanding this point. Okay, I have not started the main topic yet, but this is something that you all should know. There is one thing. Okay, so this I'll discuss later. Just a minute. All right, fine. So I hope you all remember that. Okay. So now let us begin. All right, let us begin. As I said, there are three types of magnetic materials: diamagnetic, paramagnetic, and ferromagnetic. Okay. Just concentrate on this paragraph, students. The behavior of a material in presence of external magnetic field. Okay. Any material which is kept in external magnetic field classifies materials broadly into diamagnetic, paramagnetic, and ferromagnetic material. So any material, if you all want to identify what type of material is it, whether it is a paramagnetic material or a diamagnetic material or a ferromagnetic material, you all have to keep that material in external magnetic field. Okay, and when you do that, certain things happen that is what we will be studying ahead, through which you all can identify which type of material it is. Okay, fine. See the next point, magnetic, okay, you all can mark this point and keep. This is anyways going to be repeated ahead. Still, if you all want, you all can mark it here and keep, all right. The magnetic susceptibility, I hope you all remember magnetic susceptibility. Okay, fine. It is the extent of magnetization of material. Okay, how much the material has magnetized in external magnetic field. So magnetic susceptibility for a diamagnetic material is negative. Okay, the value for it is negative. For a paramagnetic material, the value is positive, but it is small. There is the value is positive, but the magnitude, this thing is small. Magnitude is small. And for a ferromagnetic material, it is positive and large. Okay, so these are certain points that you all have to remember. Okay, fine. So if you all can see here, they have given a table. Okay, you all can see this table, magnetic susceptibility of some materials. So all the materials which have negative value, all of them are diamagnetic materials. And all of the materials which have positive values, they are either paramagnetic or ferromagnetic. I think so over here, all the materials that they have given are paramagnetic only, because you all can see the values are less. So in case of ferromagnetic, the value is going to be positive and even higher. Okay, fine. All right. So students, let us finally start with, okay, you all can remember this table. This small table is there, no? They have given a range over here. You all can see diamagnetic minus 10 raised to minus 3. You all can mark this table as important and keep. Okay, fine. All right. Okay. So let us begin with diamagnetism, students. Okay. All right. First, before that, please tell me if you all know anything about diamagnetic, paramagnetic, ferromagnetic. Have you all come across these three things anywhere till now? Please let me know.
मैम पहले दो के बारे में बताया था सर ने.
डायमैग्नेटिक और पैरामैग्नेटिक के बारे में.
यस मैम.
ओके, ठीक है. So, all right. So this is not something completely new to you all. All right, fine. Now, students, before I start this topic, there is something called Lenz's law that you all should know. Now, I think so. तुम्हारा 12th chapter हुआ नहीं है, electromagnetic induction, which is the next chapter after this, after magnetic materials. So that Lenz's law, that part is there. It is going to come in this chapter. Okay. So again, I won't explain it in that detail, but basic idea that is there, I'll just give it to you all. So please pay attention. Okay. So see students, what happens is that whenever there is a normal coil, okay, you can see this diagram. There is a coil, all right. It is not connected to any external battery or anything. This is galvanometer, all right. So there is a coil. If you bring a bar magnet, or if you bring magnet, that is if you all bring magnetic field towards the coil, you all will see that current is induced in the coil. Okay, so when you move this magnet near to this coil and when you all take it away from the coil, you all will see that there is current induced in this coil. Just to measure that current, here they have attached galvanometer. Alright, or if you all do the other way around, that is if there is constant magnetic field outside and if you all move the coil, the same thing is going to happen. So basically, because of the changing magnetic field, okay, students, changing magnetic field. Now, what is magnetic field B? What is the original formula for B? This I mentioned, this I had explained when we started with this chapter, and this is in your 11th standard. B is nothing but phi upon A, right? Yes or no? And what is phi in this? Phi means magnetic flux. And magnetic flux means the number of magnetic lines of force. Magnetic flux plus per area gives me the magnetic field. So change in magnetic field, that is change in magnetic flux lines, okay, will induce current in this coil. Alright, this is the basic concept that is there. Now let's move on to Lenz's law. Okay, I'll just directly get to Lenz's law. Actually, there are many things that have to be studied. First Faraday's law, then only you all go to Lenz's law. But I can't take much time for this explaining this part because I have to cover my chapter. Alright, fine. So you can see here Lenz's law. Alright, fine. So just concentrate on the second paragraph. Alright. Let me just mark it. Okay. See, for determining the direction of an induced current in a loop. Okay, so suppose I consider one loop, okay, in which current has been induced because of external magnetic field. And if I have to find the direction of the induced current in the loop, Lenz devised a rule which goes by his name Lenz law. Where is the exact law? Okay, see. According to this rule, you all can mark it from here if you all want. Okay, according to this rule, the direction of the induced current in a circuit is such that the magnetic field produced by the induced current opposes the change in magnetic flux that induces the current. Okay, fine. This statement is little bit confusing. See, because of changing magnetic field, current is induced in the coil. I hope you all have understood till now. Because a very simple statement, when the magnetic field is changing around the coil, okay, that time current is induced in the coil. Now students, we know that flowing current, okay, I hope you all remember right hand thumb rule where we have a wire and there is a current flowing in that wire, and if I hold that wire like this, so if my thumb is indicating the direction of current, the curled fingers are indicating the magnetic field lines. Alright, fine. So any current carrying wire or current carrying coil has its own magnetic field produced. Alright, so here what is happening? Because of magnetic field current induce हुआ और वो induced current के वजह से एक magnetic field आ रहा है. I hope you all are understanding the chain. Okay, fine. So let's read the statement again. According to this rule, the direction of induced current in a circuit, okay, the current that has occurred because of some external changing magnetic field. So the direction of that current is such that the magnetic field produced by the induced current, okay, the induced current's magnetic field opposes the change in magnetic flux that induces the current. So basically induced current ka magnetic field will oppose the external changing magnetic field. That is what Lenz's law is. Okay, fine. So students, simple thing, remember that whenever there is a coil kept in a changing magnetic field, changing magnetic field means change in flux, change in magnetic flux. Okay, fine. Current is induced inside that coil. Now that induced current has its own magnetic field, okay, whose direction, the induced current's magnetic field's direction is opposite to the direction of the external changing magnetic field. This is Lenz's law. Now we'll see why this is helpful over here. Let us get back to diamagnetism. Okay, students, please let me know if you all have understood little bit at least Lenz's law. Please let me know.
Understood, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay, good. Okay, so let's come back to diamagnetism now. All right, fine. Okay. So, see students, we'll just read out some parts. You all can mark these points if you all want. In the earlier section, it is discussed that atoms, molecules with completely filled electron orbit possess no net magnetic dipole moment. Okay. The point that I just discussed, if the valence shell of any element is completely filled, it will have zero magnetic moment, zero net magnetic moment, because the positive negative spins cancel each other out. Okay, fine. So this is something that we already know. Such materials behave as diamagnetic materials. So if I give you some random elements and I ask you all to identify whether the element is paramagnetic or diamagnetic, one simple thing to do is write down the configuration. Okay, write down the electronic configuration, check the valence shell. If in the valence shell everything is paired up, okay, there is no unpaired electron, then we can claim that that material is diamagnetic in nature. Okay, fine. I hope you all are understanding this. Remember this point, okay? Because this yellow box that I showed before, this yellow box, classify the following atoms as diamagnetic or paramagnetic. Hint, write down their electronic configurations. Okay, so you all you can see they have given hydrogen, oxygen, Zn and all. So you'll have to write the configuration. You all have to check whether there are unpaired electrons or not. Okay. If there are no unpaired electrons, it means it is diamagnetic. If there are unpaired electrons, it means it is paramagnetic. Okay, fine. I hope you all understood this point. Let's move ahead. Okay, fine. What I'll do is, okay, before I get to this part, I would like to explain you all this thing. Okay, this is under the same topic. First, let me explain you all this, and then we'll get back to this electron thing. Okay, fine. All right. Now, students, here see what they have done is they have kept a diamagnetic material, okay, in external magnetic field. Okay, fine. So you all can see here, this block is the diamagnetic material. Same diagram, okay, here they have shown what is happening inside that block. Okay, fine. It is kept in external magnetic field. So external magnetic field is like this. To draw a straight line, just a minute, okay. So this is how the external magnetic field's direction is. Okay, fine. It is from north to south. Okay, fine, north to south. This is external magnetic field. Now the question is why these lines are becoming like this? Why the magnetic field lines near the diamagnetic material or near that block are becoming curved? Because students, what is happening inside that material, okay, what is happening inside that block is that this pole is acting like, I'm not sure if it is visible, just a minute. This pole is acting like north pole and this is acting like south pole. Okay, inside the diamagnetic material, all right, this part is acting like north pole, this side is acting like south pole, and it is very obvious if this is north and outside also the direction is from north to south, so the magnetic field lines won't be able to penetrate or they won't be attracted over here. Okay, see, this north and this north will obviously repel each other out. That is the reason you all can see the magnetic field lines, they'll come here, but they are repelled from the inside north pole, so they tend to move from outside the material. Okay, fine. I hope you all are understanding why the field lines, why the external field lines are curved over here. Because inside this material, it is shown over here. See, on the right hand side diagram, you all can see north pole and south pole. Okay, fine. And the external magnetic field is like this. All right, fine. So because inside the diamagnetic material where north pole is there, in front of that again same north pole is given. So both of them, the magnetic field lines will repel. And that is the reason they don't penetrate from inside, they'll move from outside. Okay, this is the basic idea. Now, what we'll do is, I'll just read out this below part, which is depending on this diagram that I just discussed. Okay. So when diamagnetic material is placed in an external magnetic field. All right, students, before that, there are two types of magnetic field. Okay, there is a uniform magnetic field and there is a non-uniform magnetic field. This is when the material is kept in a uniform magnetic field. It is very simple to understand. Uniform magnetic field means the strength is going to be uniform or constant throughout. And non-uniform magnetic field means at some places the strength is going to be weak. At some places, the magnetic strength is going to be strong. Okay, fine. So when diamagnetic material is kept in external magnetic field, the induced magnetic field inside the material repels the magnetic lines of force. Okay, fine. So the magnetic lines of force are repelled. Okay, fine. Let us see ahead. Okay, Similarly, now you all can mark this point, okay? Similarly, when diamagnetic material is placed in a non-uniform magnetic field. See, diamagnetic material, what it is trying to do, it is trying to repel the external magnetic field lines. Yes or no? So, this is happening in a uniform magnetic field. Now, what will happen in a non-uniform magnetic field? See, it is written over here. When a diamagnetic material is placed in a non-uniform magnetic field, it moves from stronger to weaker part of the magnet, or stronger to weaker part of the field. This point is very important. Okay, fine. So, wherever the field strength is weak, okay, see, diamagnetic material opposes the external magnetic field. If I have to tell in simple language, okay, diamagnetic material opposes the external magnetic field. So when it is kept in a uniform magnetic field, the field lines are repelled, okay, they'll move from outside the material. When it is kept in a non-uniform magnetic field, it will move towards the weaker part. From the stronger, wherever the magnetic strength is strong, it will move away from it. I hope you all are understanding this. Now, to explain this point, there is something called, see, if a diamagnetic liquid, okay, a liquid which has diamagnetic character in it, is filled in a U-tube, and one arm of the U-tube, this experiment is there, no? This part that is written over here. I would like to show you all one diagram. Just a minute. Okay, you all can see this diagram over here. This is called a U-tube, all right, and the material inside this, okay, this material, students, you all can see the diagram, right?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Wait. Hold on. Just a minute, okay? I'll show you all the diagram. Wait. Now you all can see.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, so this device is called a U-tube. Okay, inside this U-tube, the blue color thing that you all can see, it is a diamagnetic liquid. Okay, so you all can see here what they have done is at one end of the U-tube, they have provided external magnetic field by providing north-south poles. So you all can see the diamagnetic material, this diamagnetic liquid is moving away from the external magnetic field. Why? Because the diamagnetic material opposes the external magnetic field. Okay, so you all can see first, initially, both of them were at equal positions. As soon as I get a magnetic field at one end, the liquid inside is moving away from that magnetic field. Okay, fine. I hope you all understood this point. That is what is written in your textbook, but there is no diagram for that. So I thought I'll show you all the diagram. Okay, it is written over here. Okay, fine. Next point is that, this point you all can see, if a rod of a diamagnetic material is suspended freely in the magnetic field, it aligns itself in the direction perpendicular to the external magnetic field. Okay, so students, see, if you all freely suspend a magnet, okay, or a material which is diamagnetic in nature, just concentrate on the video part as for now. Okay, now see, for this material, student, this is the north pole and this is the south pole. This is my diamagnetic material. I'm suspending it in external magnetic field. Now in external magnetic field also, here I have north pole and here I have south pole. Okay, so it is very obvious that it will go in opposite direction, right? According to because that is what diamagnetic materials do. They oppose the external magnetic field. So if here I have south, here I have north on this part, this end, and here I have south. So if I freely suspend the diamagnetic rod, a rod which is made up of diamagnetic material, it becomes perpendicular. Okay, fine. First it is suspended like this, so a torque will act on it because it is repelling. Okay, fine. I hope you all understood this point. This is one important point. Next, this last point, students, it is already discussed that the magnetic susceptibility of a diamagnetic material is negative. Okay, fine. All right. Now let's get back to this electron point. Okay, fine. All right. Before that, students, there are 6 minutes left in the session. So if the session ends in between, see to it that you all rejoin. Okay, fine. Okay. So let's get back to the starting part of diamagnetic. See, when these materials are placed, look at this point. When these materials are placed in external magnetic field, they move from stronger part of the magnetic field to the weaker part. This point we already discussed out. Okay, at the lower this thing of this topic. Okay, unlike magnets attracting magnetic materials, these materials are repelled by a magnet. So we have seen in that YouTube experiment, right? When you get an external magnet, the diamagnetic material repels it. It opposes the external magnetic field. Okay, fine. Let's move ahead. The simple explanation for diamagnetism could be given using paired electron orbit. As discussed earlier, the net magnetic moment of such atom is zero. Okay, this point at the beginning also I discussed. Whenever there is pairing, everything is paired up. So the spins cancel each other out. So the net dipole moment is zero. Okay, fine. When the orbiting electron or current loop is brought in an external magnetic field. Students, this point also, the electron revolving around nucleus is always compared to a current carrying loop. Okay, because it means the same. Even in a current carrying loop, charges are traveling. Even in an electron moving around nucleus, electron is traveling, because of which current is induced. Okay, fine. So this point we have discussed in this derivation already when we did this derivation. Okay, fine. All right, how to determine current and all. And see, if the electron is moving in clockwise, the current that is generated, it goes in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so all these things you already know. Let's get back over here. Okay, fine. All right. So when the orbiting electron or current loop is brought in external magnetic field, the field induces a current as per Lenz's law. Students, please remember the Lenz's law part that I explained. Okay, fine. So in external magnetic field, a current is induced inside that loop. All right. The direction of the induced current. Okay, here you can see there are two diagrams. In the first diagram, okay, you can see electron is moving in this direction. All right, fine. Because of the moving electron, okay, because of the moving electron, the current that is produced, it is in anti-clockwise. It is in opposite direction. What is this induced current? What is this new induced current? Induced current is because of the external magnetic field. Okay, please understand what is happening. Because of the moving charge of electron, this current is produced. Okay, this is something that you all already know. Here this new point is capitalized subscript small I. So this is called induced current. From where did this induced current come? Because of the external magnetic field. Okay, fine, understand this. So in the first scenario, the clockwise and anti-clockwise motion of electron. So first scenario, electron is moving in clockwise direction. In the second scenario, electron is moving in anti-clockwise direction. So you all can see here, when it is moving clockwise, the current generated because of the electron is in its opposite direction. So you all can see when electron is in anti-clockwise, its current is in opposite direction. Okay, fine. Now let's talk about the induced current. So in the first scenario, when electron is moving in clockwise direction, the induced current is in its direction only. Okay, it is along with the electron direction. And in the second scenario, okay, it is opposite the electron's direction. All right, fine. Students, don't worry if you all are not understanding. Like if you all are not able to grasp many points from this part. All right, I have another way of explaining the same topic, so I'll get to that way as well, but just a minute. Okay, so let's first just read out what is written over here. The direction of the induced current is such that the direction of the magnetic field created by the current, the direction of the magnetic field created by the current is opposite to the direction of the applied external magnetic field. This is what Lenz's law is, right? Yes or no? In Lenz's law, we have seen the magnetic field of the induced current is in opposite direction of the external magnetic field. So even here the same thing is written. The direction of the magnetic field created by the current is opposite, created by which current? Induced current is in opposite to the direction of the applied external magnetic field. So here they have just written about Lenz's law. Okay, fine. Next, what they have written, out of the pair of orbits, for one loop where the direction of the induced current, see, for one loop, the direction of the induced current is same as that of the loop current. Okay, that is, they are talking about this second diagram. You all can see in this second diagram, the original current direction and the induced current direction are in the same manner. Okay, both of them have same direction. And in this one, the first diagram, the original current direction and the induced current direction are in opposite ways. Okay, fine. All right, students, I'll continue with the explanation.